Hi ladies, it's me, Liz. As requested, I'm making a makeup tutorial of this year's, or at least this semester's, makeup for our Sin Fronteras show coming up this weekend. So I'll be recreating the look just so you can see step by step what I'm doing, and you guys can follow along with me. So I'm starting first with, right now I have no makeup on, nothing at all, and I'm going to start by putting on a face primer. And I know we didn't do this in our workshop a couple weeks ago, but I really recommend it just because you will be wearing a lot of makeup and you want to protect your skin. I have two different ones that I recommend. One is very cheap. It's from NYC, and it's called Skin Perfecting Primer. This one is just so you know your face is really it's gonna absorb all of the makeup and it's gonna stay on really well. The other one, it's not like a primer, but it's called the BB cream, and this one just protects your skin all around. It has SPF, and it illuminates, protects, makes it very not shiny, but it just protects your skin overall. There's 5 different components that it makes your skin really good. So I do recommend you use either one. Find one that's best for you. I know Olay has some, and different brands, but just use a skin primer or something. So I'm gonna go with the NYC though, just because the other one is more for everyday, has SPF. This one I just want to use it for makeup. So I'm just gonna apply this all over my face. And this one's clear. Well, it's white and it turns clear on your face. The other one has a tint. You can choose light, medium, or dark, and it'll go with your skin color. So I prefer this one right now just for the purpose of our makeup. So now that I have my primer on, I'm ready to do all of my other makeup. I'm going to start with the eyelid base, and I have, let's see, I took all my makeup out. Now I can't find it. Okay, I'm just gonna go with the one that I've used recently. Actually, I'm gonna go with e.l.f. I recently bought this one. It's e.l.f. eyelid primer. I think it was about $1 at Target. I'm not sure, $1 or $3. It actually works pretty well. If I did have to recommend one though, it would be Urban Decay's Potion. It's called something like that, like eyelid potion or something. That one works really, really well. But that's only, if you have a lot of money to spare to go buy eyelid primer, I would use that one. But this one works well too. So you put it all over your lids, just like this. You can even put it a little bit under. That's okay. Just make sure you blend it all over your lids. Okay, so now you have this. Then we're going to go ahead and add our tape that we've been using. This is going to help us have a really smooth and straight line on this side. So you can use any kind of tape. I'm using Scotch's tape. I'm going to take some and very carefully place it under my eyelashes. So I don't want to grab my eyelashes because it will hurt when I have to peel it off. So just make sure you go under. And this is it feels kind of weird, but it really helps out a lot. So you want to go under and try to get as close to your eyebrow if you can. Okay, so we have our tape on just like this. Now that I have my base, I can go ahead and start with the eyeshadow, and I'm using MAC's Goldmine. Looks like this one. And I'll be using this only on my lids. So I'm going to go with the flat brush that looks like this, and this one is also by e.l.f. I'm trying to see if you can see the brands. This one is called Elf Professional. Oh, it's just Elf. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put this just on the lid. Now I am using the camera on this computer and it's a little difficult to see because it's not a mirror. So I'm going to try my best. And you can go ahead, you can touch that tape even if you want, it's okay. You go to the next one. I do want to recommend that you do your hair first whenever you're doing your makeup. Make sure you do your hair first just so you make sure that you don't have any hair in your face, especially when you put on your foundation. You don't want your hair in your way, so try to do your hair first. Right now I have it in a ponytail, but as we all know, we're gonna have buns and they're gonna be very slick. I suggest you use a lot of gel, mousse, hairspray, whatever you like to use, but it has to be super slick. No flyaways, no parts, no bangs. Just make sure it's super slick. Okay, so I have my gold on. There we go. And so now I'm going to go ahead and add coral, which is the color we've been using by MAC. And I really want to say that I appreciate a lot of you girls that have gone out to go get this color. I know it hasn't been very easy. I didn't realize it wasn't a color that that is not easily found. So I really appreciate a lot of you girls that have gone out of your way to go get this. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a blending and eyeshadow brush, and this one's by Essence of Beauty. And I found this at CVS, I believe. It was a kit of like 2 or 3 brushes for about $9. I'm going to be using the slanted brush like this, and this one's going to be for the coral. So I'm just going to tap a little bit. You have to be very careful not to grab too much. So I'm just going to go. Now it's more on my brow bone. I used my lid for the gold, and so now I'm going to go over on my brow bone and very gently come down to the middle. So I'm using the slanted portion, the top of the slanted portion, to go towards the tip, and then bringing the unslanted portion towards the inner eyelid. Just like that. So I'm trying very carefully not to get too much of the gold, because if I put this over the gold, it'll cover it. So you just have to try to be very gentle. You want to try to make it as dark as possible. So I'm going over about 2 to 3 times, just so it's really dark. We will be wearing long eyelashes that may cover some of the shadow. So you have to make sure that, it's noticeable even with eyelashes, and especially on stage, you want your eyes to pop. So we want to try really hard to make it dark. So there we go. We have our coral, and notice that I'm going over the tape too. I'm putting some on the tape just to make sure that when I take off the tape, you'll have a straight line right there. Okay, so we're done with that one for now. We're going to go and use our brown color to go inside in between, in the middle, from the coral and the gold. I'm using Maybelline's Nutmeg, and it's a brown matte color. Let me open it so you guys can see a little bit better. So I'm going to go ahead and use a smudge brush. I have, let's see, The smudge brush I'll use is it's by e.l.f. It's an e.l.f. contour brush, and this one's about between $1 and $3. I'm not quite sure, but we're just going to go ahead and use that. And I'm just going to tap. And I want to remind you guys, whenever you're doing makeup, if it's on yourself, I guess it's okay, but it's probably not recommended. If you have excess powder, you just tap it. You could tap it on your hand or tap it with your fingers, but never ever blow on it because you're just spreading your germs onto your brush. So that's just one, tip that I learned from my makeup classes. So we're gonna go just in between, and it's still a little bit like in the brow bone area. And you're gonna bring it down. And the reason why you want to only just tap is because you don't want to grab too much. You want to use as little as possible and then smudge that in, and then just go adding more and more if you feel you need more. You don't want to start with a lot and then you kind of ruined it if you've put on too much. So you just use a little bit at a time, and then you add as you go. So I'm just, again, same thing as I did with the coral. I'm starting at the edge and then bringing it slowly towards the middle. And I feel it right on my brow bone, so that's where you kind of want to go. If you feel that you've lost a little bit of the coral, you can go back and add more coral. But I think this is good for the matte brown. And I am going to go back and add a little bit more coral because I feel that it got a little bit lost with this brown. So I'm going to go ahead and go back and add more coral. Okay. Now that we have this, I'm going to go ahead and add the white line. The white line that I used my concealer. This one is by Maybelline Cover Stick. Mine is in light beige. So I'm going to go ahead and use this, and with a very thin brush, I'm going to go ahead and make a white line from the edge of my eye all the way to the top. So I'm just going to use a thin eyeliner brush like this. This one I think I got at Target. It doesn't have a brand on it, but very, very cheap. Very, very affordable. So I'm just going to use a very thin brush like this, and I'm only going to touch the bottom here. I don't want to go on the top because sometimes I use this for, actually we'll be using this for our concealer and our contouring. So I just want to go down here in the middle. And with this, I'm going to make a very thin line. And again, I'm touching the tape because it's going to help me make a very thin line. Okay, so we have that one. Now we're going to go over to the other side, do the same thing. Try your best to make it as thin as possible. You don't want to have a very thick line. We are still going to go over with black on top of this one, but you just want to make sure that it's not too big. And you want to extend it all the way to where the coral is. Okay, so we have our two lines like this. One thing that I forgot to add was the white eyeshadow that's going to go on top or under our eyebrows on top of the coral. And I'm going to go ahead and use a white shadow. Mine comes from my brow kit from Milani. Let's see. There we go. Mine comes from my brow kit, and I'm going to be using this white color like this. And it could be any color, it doesn't matter what brand it is, as long as it's a white shimmery color. So I'm just going to tap with a fluffy brush like this. This one I got from a CoverGirl kit, so it came with the eyeshadow from CoverGirl. So it's a very simple fluffy brush, and I'm going to go under my eyebrow. This is going to help just to highlight your eyebrows. Now I feel that I've gone a little bit into my coral, so again I'm going to go back. It's always okay to go back. When you feel that you've made a mistake or that you've lost a color, you just always go back and redo it. Okay? So now, after that, I'm going to go ahead and do my eyeliner. And I'm using my pot eyeliner. This one's from L'Oreal. And it's a gel eyeliner just like this. And I'm using the brush that it came with. I really, really love this. It's very easy to use, I think. The brush is awesome because it's super thin. Very thin, and it allows you to make a very thin line. As long as you have a steady hand. You just try your best to have a very steady hand. So I'm just going to grab a little bit. And then I'm going to get as close to my line as possible. And for me, I kind of start everywhere. I don't really go from like the inside to the outside. It just depends on how I feel more comfortable. So I'm just starting in the middle, and then from the middle going on out to the inner eye and then back to the outer eye. So I have a line right here. And carefully, I'm going to extend it on top of the white. So then I'll have two lines going on, a white line and a black line. And you have to be very gentle, very smooth and gentle, so that you don't make a very thick black line. You don't want to have a very thick black line. So right now I have two lines. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and do my other eye. So again, I like to start in the middle and then bring it out. Okay, and then I'm going to go over to go on top of the white line. You can always add more if you feel it's not dark enough. So here I feel it looks a little gray. So I'm going to go back and get some more. And go over it just like that. Okay, so now I have my two eyeliners. I have what, black, white, and then going back I'm going to do another black line right here on the bottom. But for now we're just going to leave it just like that. Then, after we've done this part, I'm going to go ahead and remove the tape. And it feels funny, but it actually looks pretty good like this. So I have a straight line. There we go. I have two straight lines. You see a little bit clearer. My black looks a little messy, but that's okay. When we're on stage, you won't be able to see all those little minor mistakes. So don't stress too much if you're not getting very straight lines. As long as you have the color, I think it's the most important part. So we have that. I'm going to go ahead and go back using my, it's really important to use different brushes. Currently I don't have that many brushes, so I'm just going to go back and use one of the ones I've already used. I'm going to go ahead and use the same brush that I used for my concealer white line. I'm going to go back, clean it, and I'm going to use it to use my brown matte eyeshadow. And I'm going to make a thin brown line underneath the white line. So again, just be very gentle, very smooth. So then we have two lines in between. There we go. You want to try to extend it as far as you can, just like that. This one looks a little messy, but that's okay. Keep in mind that I'm not using a mirror, I'm just using the camera, so I'm trying my best. After we've done this part, we're going to go ahead and add our face makeup, and I'm going to go ahead and start with doing the contouring. And I'm going to be using the Maybelline Cover Stick. Mine again is light beige, so you want to use one that's about 2 to 3 colors lighter than your own skin tone, because we want to highlight parts in your face that are really going to stand out on stage. So I'm just going to use a little bit, and I'm going to add some on my nose, on my forehead, on my chin, and underneath my eyes. So a lot of us, we like to use concealer. I love using concealer, but for our show, we're actually using a very, very light concealer. This is, we're not using concealer for the same purpose that we normally use it for on a day-to-day basis. So I'm going to be using this much. You don't need to add that much. I've just kind of dabbed a little bit using a brush that I got at CVS, one of my kits. This one's from Essence of Beauty that I got at CVS. It looks like this. I'm going to use this to blend the concealer, and it's just going to go on my chin. These are the points in our face that we want to highlight when we're on stage. So this one's going to kind of make like a triangle motion here. It's going to go from the base of my nose and then bring it back to my outer eye. And I'm going to use it on my nose. And same thing on this side. Try to get as close to under your eye as you can. And on my forehead. This one's just going to kind of be like a circle kind of thing going on here. It could be a square, but just pretty much on the center of your forehead. So we have, it's kind of like we're making a T-zone here. We're going down here and then across our face. And those are the high points that we want to point out in our makeup when we're on stage. We want people to notice our high cheekbones, our nose. So that's the point of using this. So now that we have this, I'm going to go ahead and add my face makeup. I prefer to use this one. This one's Revlon's Photo Ready airbrush, and this one comes out as foam. So I really like this one, and I use a tapered brush like this. Well, I'm not sure if it's tapered, but it's a brush that has it's very flat, and this one goes perfectly for blending in foundations. So I'm just gonna squirt a little bit out, and I love it because it's foam, so it's very easy to manage. I just put some on my hand, so it looks just like this. So as opposed to liquid, it just kind of like slides off. This one doesn't. It will a little bit, but it's just a little bit more easy to manage. So I'm just gonna tap a little bit on my hand and then put it on my face, and I'm gonna go around the areas where I did not, or where I did put the concealer or the white concealer. I'm just going to go around those areas. I don't want to cover that up. So I'm going to go all around my face. So I put some on my chin, some white concealer, so I'm not going to put this on my chin. I really do suggest you wear both, well, everything that we're using, because powder alone will not cover your whole face for the amount of time that we're going to be there. You want to have something that's going to be kind of heavy. So that's why I like to use concealer and then powder on top of this. So we're going to go ahead and add a little bit more. This is also helpful for when we put on our blush. It kind of holds a little bit more of our blush and our contouring, our bronzer for contouring. And try to go deep into your hairline. You don't want to have like lines where you can see, so you want to try to go deep in your hairline as well. Okay, so now that I have this on, you want to go on your chin too. Just make sure you kind of blend it in all the way really well. Okay, now that you have that, we're going to go ahead and put on our powder. And hold on a second, I need to get my powder. Okay, here it is. My powder that I like to use is by MAC, my Studio Fix. This one's very heavy and it works really well if you're just going out on a date, to a party. This one it's perfect to go alone, but for us, because we already have our foundation, we're gonna use this to set our foundation. So I'm gonna go ahead and use a big fluffy brush like this, and this one's also from Essence of Beauty at CVS, and I'm just gonna grab a little bit and put this one all over my face. And this one you can put on top of your concealer, like the T-zone that we made. So we're going to use this everywhere. We want to get rid of a lot of our shiny spots. Okay, so here we go. My whole face is covered. And so now after this, we're going to go ahead and do our contouring. I'm going to use, let me see, where did my brush go? My brush for contouring is a slanted brush. Which currently I cannot find. So what I'm going to do instead, because I cannot find my contouring brush, I'm going to use this one. It's a flat brush and it works really well to make simple lines like this. And I'm going to use my bronzer. So I'm just going to dab. My bronzer is by MAC and it's matte bronze. So I'm just going to use a little bit of this, and then from my hairline to my chin, I'm sorry, not to my chin, to my cheek. Right here to the middle of my cheek, I'm going to try to make a very smooth, light line. You don't want to be too dark with this. Like I said, you want to start very soft and then add more if you feel like you need more. You don't want to so quickly start with a lot because it'll be hard to remove it. So you just want to start very soft. So you can see I'm making a thin line, and I'm trying to blend it as well as I can. Okay, so you see that from here I don't have the line, and so this is what contouring does. It gives you the effect of high cheekbones. So we're going to do our cheek right here. We're going to add a little bit underneath our chin and our jawline. And this gives the effect on stage of our very defined jawline. So this one's also a good one. You do it right, like on your bone, and a little bit under. You try not to put it on top because that just looks a little weird. You just want to put it a little bit under. So it's kind of like behind your ear to your jaw. And I'm also going to put a little bit just on my hair. This one kind of gives a more defined face. So we're just going to put a little bit there. So this is what we do for contouring. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So I want you guys to notice the difference, that there's darkness here, a little bit on her chin and on her head here, and when I turn, it's not there. So we're going to go ahead and try to do the same thing on this side. And again, just be very gentle, be very patient with this. It does take some time. We don't want to have very fine lines, so you just want to try your best to keep blending and blending. And that's one of the key things when we do makeup, is important to keep blending. Now I'm going to add some on my chin, my jawline. A little bit on my hairline. So now here I feel that I've put on too much, so I'm just going to go ahead and use my finger and smear it out. Okay, so on stage you'll have high cheekbones and a defined face. We're also going to try to put a little bit on our nose, so I'm going to go ahead and use the same brush that I used for the coral, the slanted brush, and I'm just going to clean it. You want to make sure that you have wipies at hand all the time so you can clean your brushes. So I'm going to go ahead and use the slanted bit of the brush and put a little bit on my nose. And it's going to go from like my tear duct to my nostril. These are just tricks that we like to use. This one might be a little bit difficult, but it helps. It makes your nose look a little bit thinner. So I'm going from my tear duct to my nostril. I'm adding just a little bit. I don't want to exaggerate too much, so just a little bit like that. Now that we're done with our bronzer, we're going to go ahead and use our blush. And my blush is going to be very pink. We actually want to go with a dark rose. Mine is not that dark, so I suggest you going for a darker one than this. But again, mine is from Sephora. These are kind of easy, kind of cheap. They're about $11, so they're not expensive. Not that expensive. So I'm just going to dab, and using a big fluffy brush, I'm going to use this for my blush, and I'm just going to put it on my cheekbones so we can just smile, and put it right on the fluffy part of your cheek. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend it all the way to my hair. I want it to kind of go along with the same line as my my contour. Same thing on this side. I like to put some a little bit on my chin. We're just going to blend. And remember, we are going to be having a lot of blush on, and I know Jackie and Alvia, they're going to be blush patrols, which is awesome because whenever we don't wear a lot of blush, we looked a little bit washed out on stage. So we just want to make sure that we have a lot on. So this is kind of a bit exaggerated. So that's exactly what we're going for. So we have our blush on. Now the next thing that I want to do is put on my fake eyelashes. And remember, we want to use thick eyelashes. Mine are big, like this, big and a bit fluffy. So we're going to go ahead and use these. Now the best glue is Duo, and I actually just found a new one. This one comes out brown, so it's not white, and this one I find I kind of like it better just because when you put it on, like to the white one, you have to wait for it to dry, and when you're waiting, it looks white. This one comes out brown, so whenever you're waiting, it doesn't look white, and it's easier just to go on and just if you're rushed, you won't have that white glue that's waiting to set. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use this one. It's not really brown, it's more of a gray color, but it's still the same glue, it's just a different color. So it comes out a little gray like that, if you can see. I'm just going to wait for this to set. And you want to wait between 10 to 30 seconds or so. So you can, when you put it on, it's a little bit thicker already and it's easier to manage. It's not very slippery. It's just easier to manage and put it on your eyelids. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on. You want to get as close to your eyeliner. You want to get as close as possible to it. So you can see it's not white, it's more gray. So you want to get that as close as possible. Remember, we will be putting some mascara on top of this, so they're going to look a lot darker than that. You want to make sure that they're really big. I would suggest them just not very, very thick, not super full, where they just look they don't look like eyelashes anymore. You want them to be kind of wispy, dark, but just not completely full. So I'm just going to wave them around a little bit, wait like about 10, 20 seconds, and then put them on. It really does make it a lot easier to put them on when you wait. So I know a lot of girls have trouble with their eyelashes putting them on. It's really not that difficult, and you just kind of try to be patient, do it very slowly if you want to. Just take your time. But remember, it's the glue, it will dry out, so you don't have to worry if you accidentally got it on top of your eyeshadow. So it will dry out. So we have both of our eyelashes on. They look like this. There we go. Now the next thing I want to do is I'm going to do my eyebrows, and I haven't done my eyebrows yet, but I'm going to be using a thin brush, kind of like the same brush that I used for the white eyeliner. It's going to look very, it's very thin and flat. Let me see if I can find it. I tend to lose my brushes because they're just all over the place. Well, I can't find my brush, and I just used it, but since that happened, I'm just going to go ahead and use the same brush that I used for my black eyeliner, and I'm going to use a little bit of my matte brown to go under my eyelashes, under my lower eyelashes. So I'm just going to go under here. It's going to be like my eyeliner. So you want your eyes to be very dark, so they look really, so they like stand out on stage. And if you can connect it to your bottom eyeliner too. That helps. After that, I'm going to do my eyebrows. And remember, we do want to try to use a thin brush. Found it. It's thin like this, and this one's perfect for your eyebrows. And you want to use a dark shade. I'm going to go ahead and use the same matte brown. This one's very useful. You can use it for a lot of stuff. So especially for us that have eyebrows to shape, this one works perfect. So you want to make sure that you follow your own eyebrow shape. And you're pretty much just filling in. You don't want to do a shape that's not yours. Just follow your own natural shape. But just make sure that your lines are straight. And like I said, I do suggest using like a powder, like eyeshadow, or like my brow kit that's especially for your eyebrows, because it's more forgiving than a eyebrow pencil. So you can kind of see a bit of a difference there now. So I'm going to do the same thing with the other one. You don't want these lines to be very harsh either, so try to blend in as much as you can. There we go. So now we have our eyebrows done. I'm going to go ahead and apply some mascara because I feel that my glue has dried. You want to make sure that you wait a little bit to put on mascara, because if you put it on right away, you might make the eyelashes kind of slip up, like they might pull up. So just wait a little bit and then you can add your mascara. We do want to add mascara on the top and on the bottom. Even if we don't have eyelashes that are very big on the bottom, we do want to make them kind of stand out as much as we can. So I'm just going to add just a little, and we're just going to wiggle. Okay, so you can see now that my eyelashes on the bottom, you can see them now. After this, I'm going to go ahead and add my lipstick, and then after that, we're done with our look. I'm going to go ahead and use my red lipstick, and my red lip liner. I did mention two. This one is from Nabby, but I also have an NYX, so just make sure it's any red lip liner and then a red lipstick. It has to be a very cherry red tomato kind of lipstick, so no burgundies, no pinks. Make sure it's very bright red. So first I'm going to go ahead and put on my lip liner. So just again, follow your natural line. Make sure that whenever you're using lip liners or pencils or anything like that on someone else, that you're sharpening them every time. I really like using your lip liner first because it helps guide your lipstick. You're not going to go out of your line if you use a lip liner, so it's a lot easier. I'm just going to go ahead and fill it in. So that's pretty much the look. If you guys have any questions, please go ahead and ask. Again, we're using coral, brown, and gold. We're using bronzing to contour. We're using pink cheeks and red lips, and just really big eyelashes, and then eyeshadow to fill in our brows. We might want to do a little bit more exaggeration in our cheeks. But other than that, this is our look. If you have any questions, again, go ahead and ask me. I hope you guys like it. So I'll see you guys soon. Bye.